Hello and welcome back to the Military Matrix. Tonight, we are following major developments on the southern axis of the Ukraine war, where a dramatic escalation at the Pogonovo military zone has left Russia stunned and analysts worldwide reassessing the battlefield balance. Ukrainian officials claim a sweeping precision strike campaign that reportedly destroyed up to 1,000 Russian reconnaissance and attack drones, while simultaneously inflicting severe manpower losses nearly 200 troops during a concentrated series of hits targeting a Russian logistics and training hub inside the Pogonovo area. As international observers scramble to verify the scale of the operation, the implications of such a strike are already echoing across the region, raising serious questions about Russia's defensive posture, its drone stockpile, and the rapidly evolving capabilities of Ukrainian forces. According to early Ukrainian battlefield reports, this massive operation was carried out during a carefully coordinated night offensive involving long-range drones, HIMARS precision artillery, and specialist electronic warfare support units working in high synchronization. Sources inside Ukraine's Southern Command describe the attack as one of the largest concentrated strikes against a single Russian staging area since the start of the full-scale invasion. Pogonovo, located near Voronezh, has long been recognized as one of Russia's heavily fortified military complexes, known not only for troop deployments and equipment storage, but also for drone maintenance workshops and short-range air defense systems. The possibility that Ukraine managed to penetrate this depth of Russian territory with such destructive efficiency is now a central point of attention among Western military analysts. Witnesses from nearby towns reported a series of loud detonations late into the night, followed by secondary explosions believed to be the result of ammunition and fuel detonating inside Russian storage points. Satellite images circulating today show large burn marks and smoke trails rising from multiple sections of the Pogonovo zone. Although Russia has not confirmed the extent of the damage, regional emergency services acknowledged several fires and what they called technical accidents at military facilities, language that observers say reflects a pattern of downplaying Ukrainian strikes on strategic sites. If the numbers provided by Ukrainian military spokespeople prove accurate, the destruction of 1,000 drones represents a staggering blow, not only in immediate battlefield capacity, but also in terms of operational planning. Russia has relied heavily on reconnaissance drones, Orlan 10 units, Lancet loitering munitions, and various domestically modified UAV to coordinate artillery fire, track Ukrainian movements, and strike frontline positions. Losing such a large number of these aerial assets would hit at the heart of Russia's surveillance and precision strike capability, particularly at a moment when Ukrainian forces have increasingly depended on mobility, concealment, and counter-battery fire to hold their lines. Military analysts note that Pogonovo has been a central hub for drone storage and upgrades for years. It is believed that Russia concentrated much of its drone maintenance infrastructure there to protect it from frontline attacks, assuming the distance provided natural security. The fact that Ukraine was able to hit the facility not only challenges that assumption, but also highlights the extended reach of Ukrainian strike technology, especially long-range drones that Kiev has developed domestically after relying for months on Western-supplied systems. Ukrainian engineers have repeatedly emphasized that domestically produced long-range drones have become more accurate and cost-effective, enabling mass strike operations that were previously impossible. Equally significant is the reported casualty figure. Ukrainian sources claim that around 200 Russian personnel were either killed or incapacitated during the attack. These troops were reportedly stationed near drone storage yards and vehicle parking zones when the strikes occurred. The nature of the attacks, swift, simultaneous, and focused on multiple points, allowed little time for personnel to shelter or reposition. Russian channels on social media have been discussing unusually heavy losses in the Voronezh sector, adding indirect confirmation to the claims circulating now. Some pro-Russian commentators describe the strike as a failure of air defense coordination, criticizing local commanders for underestimating the threat. Beyond the immediate battlefield effect, the political implications could be severe. Russia has insisted repeatedly that its interior regions remain fully protected, and that Ukrainian strikes deep into Russian territory pose little threat to strategic operations. This event, however, upends that narrative. Should the scale of the destruction be verified, public confidence in regional defenses could weaken significantly, particularly among military families living near major bases. Russian state media has so far avoided discussing details, but independent channels have reported heightened movement of emergency vehicles and military officials around the site, suggesting that Moscow is scrambling to assess damage and reinforce defenses. Meanwhile, Ukrainian officials have framed the attack as a necessary response to Russia's continuous drone and missile assaults on Ukrainian cities, infrastructure, and energy facilities. Kiev argues that hitting Pogonovo directly disrupts Russia's ability to launch future strikes and weakens its command structure. The Ukrainian president's office has declined to comment officially on operational details, but emphasized that Ukraine will continue targeting military infrastructure used to support attacks on Ukrainian soils. Western military analysts say this strike marks a dramatic shift toward deeper operational penetration inside Russia. If Ukraine continues developing the capacity to strike high, targets far beyond the front line, Russia may be forced to redirect significant defensive resources away from Ukraine and toward protecting its interior zones. This redistribution could relieve pressure on Ukrainian brigades currently facing intense assaults on multiple fronts. Another key aspect now under examination is the technological sophistication displayed in the strike. Reports suggest that Ukrainian forces used electron warfare units to disable or mislead Russian short-range air defense radars operating around Pogonovo. Several intercepted Russian communications hint at radar blackouts and unexplained interference during the attack window. If true, this suggests a significant advancement in Ukraine's electronic warfare capabilities, which have traditionally been inferior to Russia's but have improved substantially due to recent Western support and domestic innovation. While the destruction of troop and drone assets dominates headlines, analysts warn that the psychological effect on Russian forces could be equally powerful. Russian troops stationed in interior bases have long believed they were insulated from direct Ukrainian retaliation. The knowledge that even fortified facilities deep inside Russia are vulnerable may create anxiety among personnel, weaken morale, and force operational commanders to rethink deployment strategies. This includes potentially relocating drone storage facilities or dispersing them across multiple smaller sites, moves that would complicate logistics and reduce efficiency. On the Ukrainian side, the strike is being openly celebrated by soldiers and civilians alike. Social media videos from Ukraine show troops cheering upon hearing the news, viewing the operation as a meaningful step in balancing the strategic equation. For months, Ukraine has been on the defensive, struggling with ammunition shortages, manpower pressures, and constant Russian attacks. A strike of this magnitude provides a symbolic and tactical boost at a crucial moment. International reactions are mixed. Western governments have refrained from commenting directly, but have reiterated Ukraine's right to strike legitimate military targets. Meanwhile, Moscow has released stern statements accusing Ukraine of escalating hostilities and warning of potential retaliation. However, details about what form that retaliation might take remain unclear. Some experts believe Russia may accelerate missile strikes on Ukrainian infrastructure as a form of response. Others argue that Russia may prioritize reinforcing air defenses around key internal bases, a task that could strain resources already stretched across a 1,000-kilometer front. In summary, the reported destruction of 1,000 Russian drones and the elimination of 200 troops at Pogonovo, if confirmed, would represent one of the most consequential strikes inside Russian territory since the beginning of the war. It signals that Ukraine's long-range strike capability has evolved dramatically and that Russian assumptions about internal security may no longer hold. What this means for the future of the conflict remains to be seen, but tonight, The shockwaves from Pogonovo continue to reverberate across the region. Stay tuned as more updates come in, and as always, thank you for watching the Military Matrix.